Hi, Mark.
Hi, how's it going, Sasha?
It's going well. Thank you for joining me today.
hmm
So tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I wear a bunch of different hats, which is actually kind of what I want to talk about during this session. So to kind of run through them quickly is I'm mainly a psychotherapist in private practice, and then I'm also a marketing and business development coach, focusing mainly on like social media
Mhm.
and helping entrepreneurs that are in like healing professions, so things like therapists, acupuncturists, small business owners, to kind of create an online presence.
Yeah.
And then I also am the president of the Colorado Group Psychotherapy Society, which is a
Mhm.
nonprofit about educating people on how to better run groups, psychotherapy groups that help, like things like support groups or process groups, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And the last thing is I am the CEO of an online toy company called Neuro Toys.
Oh,
So
that's very cool.
it's super fun. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. And I'm definitely seeking some advice and some help on how to juggle all those different roles and how to prioritize kind of combining them all into a lifestyle that doesn't result in me being a total workaholic, which I think is
Mm.
what I'm doing right now,
Yeah.
burning
So,
out.
yeah. So sounds like you're really excited about many things,
Yeah.
and you're seeking some balance. So how do you still um, create great careers out of all those passions, and at the same time not sacrifice your life completely?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if we're being more specific, um, what would be a big challenge that we can talk about today and work with that at the end of our call, you would feel, oh, that was a really good use of my time. That really created some shift.
Yeah. So I guess what's been helpful for me in general has been figuring out like a sense of priorities of how to schedule things, right? Because I have so many inputs coming in all the time, right?
Yeah.
And some of my jobs, specifically COGPS and neurotoys, are things that the work doesn't pay right away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so neurotoys with the store, I just started that about a month ago. That's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work right now to get going, and the idea is
Yeah.
that passive income. So there's worth, for financial reasons, there's worth investing in it right now to
Yeah.
get that widget up and running.
Mm-hmm.
COGPS, on the other hand, pays me absolutely nothing, but pays off in acclaim and notoriety and connections, and that's been very beneficial for me, especially starting off in field psychotherapy because it let me really like jump ranks really fast
Yep.
and go from unknown to known by a lot of people very very quickly.
Yeah.
But now that I'm there, the notoriety isn't as valuable as it was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Um, and then things like psychotherapy and the marketing coaching, those pay, as they're going, right? Like that's an hourly work. So I'm trying to figure out what my priorities were. I think when I first started, notoriety and fame was the big one. So I was totally okay to, work for free or buy people a lot of networking lunches or just like really, take a financial hit in order to just get my name out there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of switching more to finances, especially now that I've moved into a new condo and I bought something, so I'm paying a mortgage and my, cost of living is going up. So yeah, I think that's what I kind of want to work with. Does that make sense? Figuring out how to balance and how to prioritize
Yeah.
and
It does.
variables on
It
those.
does. So let's see. You're talking about you being in a different place in your life and career right now,
hmm
and working more with the long-term um, goals at the beginning. And now you're saying, okay, what can me bring me more um, revenue in the short term right now, right? You found yourself in a good position in the COGPS, which stands for, as a reminder for the
Okay, it's
people
the
who are watching.
Colorado Group Psychotherapy Society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And I notice your pace when you talk about it.
hmm
Very, very fast.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah. Is it okay if we slow down a bit?
hmm
Yeah. So, if what can we focus on today? You have all the four things that you're doing. What is one thing that we can focus that would bring you one step closer toward that balanced life that you're talking about?
Okay. I think what we could do would be prioritization would be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I prioritize different things? And more importantly, setting boundaries, like having to say no strategically.
Yeah.
And not sacrifice opportunity, but still be moving forward, you know?
Yeah. If we would choose two things that
Mm-hmm.
you feel are competing a lot and you have more challenge with prioritizing those and narrowing it down to more specific issue, what would those two things be?
Okay. Yeah. Let me think about that for a minute. Okay. So I think this. So we have the therapy thing. Okay. So I think that I'm working with now that are competing are marketing my own therapy practice.
Yep.
And marketing coaching is kind of tied in there. So marketing myself
Yep.
versus marketing COGPS.
Mm.
Because we have a big conference coming up in November, and I'm noticing a lot of my attention is going towards that, getting that pipeline filled.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, what stands in your way? What would you say is the biggest challenge that prevents you from creating balance between those two things?
It's a time and energy problem. You
Yep.
know, like I've been experiencing, and this is like straight up textbook burnout, right? Like I get a lot of brain fatigue at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I get just like really like tired, and that leads me to, you know, lacking self-care. So like not making it to the gym or eating shitty food,
Yeah.
or staying up late, you know, and then that just becomes a snowball spiral effect
Yeah.
that leads into the next day when I don't do that stuff, and the next day, and then, you know,
Mm.
before long I backlog, and it's a whole disaster.
Yeah. So you're bringing a totally different issue, not a competition between COGPS and marketing your own business, but more your work and your leisure time and the self-care that can happen during that time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to market both, right? Like I'd like to have the energy to market both.
Yep.
And I guess the question is it that I just don't have enough energy and I could market both, or does a sacrifice need to happen where I need to back off on working on one of those projects in order to work more fully on the other one?
Yeah. If you would stop completely right now, your life, kind of put it on pause and would build it from scratch, what would your advice to yourself be in terms of how would your perfect life balance look like in terms of the time you're spending on those two things, uh, the activities that you're doing for self-care? How would it look like if it was easy?
Yeah. If I could just like hack my brain.
Exactly.
I mean, definitely more self-care. I mean, I've just been kind of like off the gym and off my diet for the past week, which I'm definitely feeling the
Yeah.
effect of.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NeuroToys project would be on the sideline
Mm-hmm.
because like my partner just dropped out because he's starting his internship for school and didn't realize how hard that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So
So you're alone in that.
I'm alone in that now, which is a pain in the ass
Mm-hmm.
because I invested a lot of money in it, or not a lot. I invested like $200 in it. But you know, so that's paused. I mean, I like what I'm doing. That's the thing is like, I like my life. I mean, my life is very incredibly varied. I travel a lot. I get to meet a ton of people. It's like very novel and very stimulating.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll pause you for a second.
yeah.
An image that comes up when you say it that I like it a lot is me seeing a delicious chocolate cake,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want that piece of chocolate, but it's a big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can have it all myself. There's no one to share, nothing to worry about, and I eat the first piece, and it's delicious. And then I'm thinking, okay, I can have the second one too, right? There's this whole cake. Nothing stops me from doing it. And I eat the second one. I'm kind of full already, but it's still satisfying. But but there's some momentum. There's still the cake, and I can eat
Mm-hmm.
it. So I'm eating the third and the fourth, and then it flips, right? Something that brought me so much pleasure becomes that thing that causes is not fun in the present, and also there's the after effect that I literally feel sick to my stomach,
Yeah.
like for hours after doing that. So does it resonate in any way, that
Yeah.
metaphor?
I think that's true. I mean, that's something that I noticed about a couple months ago that I'm trying to get a hold on is that pattern. And the pattern that I noticed with I put it is that like when I finish one task,
Yep.
it creates 3 more tasks,
Mm.
right? Like nothing ever goes to a termination point.
Yeah.
It just creates more opportunity.
There's never end in sight.
It never ends, and it gets bigger, right? So like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
How big do you want to go?
How big do I want to get?
3 years from now, what would your perfect life look like?
I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like there's a lot of mutually exclusive choices that I'm putting off making.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, right? So like I'm moving one part of my life, which COGPS is kind of the spearhead of that, was moving me towards getting on the speaking circuit. So traveling a lot, right? And presenting at these conferences, doing more like business management and business development. And just doing like I like the idea of coming in to like a corporation or a company and like helping a team like get a shit together and like move forward. I like being very mobile and working at very high levels. And I've been doing a little bit of that with the local chapters of the AGPA, which is Colorado's one local chapter, but I've been going to other states and doing this kind of work with them.
I will pause you again. So did you notice what happened when I asked you, how would you like your future to look like? The perfect future in 3 years from now. Where did you go when I asked you that?
Well, like going to the speaking gig thing?
Yeah. What did you start to describe instead?
Oh, what my future would be instead of what it.
When I asked you what your perfect future look like in 3 years from now, you started talking about something else. And I'm curious about that and what happened.
Well, I think, I guess I started doing problem solving. I started thinking about that because I have that track and then I have my track, which is like being a psychotherapist, and those things don't match. Right?
How would you like it to be?
I don't know yet.
If we're taking from here and kind of doing this thing and again saying the brain hack, I like this this metaphor. If it would be easier, kind of the magic wand thing, if there was a magic wand and you would be really, really happy with the way your life and career look like in 3 years from now, what would you be doing? How much time would you be spending? Yeah,
I think that's worth talking because I don't know the answer to that, right? Like I don't, because I enjoy all of it, which I think is like that's the cake problem, right? Is that like I enjoy grinding and working really hard, right? And like I enjoy traveling, right? Like I enjoy taking trips with friends. So like I don't really know.
So that would still be
dream
there,
is.
right? You would be traveling, and you would be busy. It sounds like with things that you're passionate about and meeting people. Would you still be in COGPS?
No.
So that's not happening in 3 years from now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, CGPS is just a stepping stone for all this more important stuff.
Yeah. What's the more important stuff?
Well, so CGPS being like, it's like the Colorado local one, I'd like to get involved in AGPA, which is a national level. So it's like politics, right? Like you start at the local level.
Yeah.
And then
3
you
years
move up
from
to
now, you would have a position in AGPA, right? Which is the American Group Psychotherapy Association, right?
Yeah.
What would that position be?
Well, I'm planning in 4 years to run for the chair of the ASA, which is essentially like the Speaker of the House position. So it's the head of the legislative branch in the AGPA.
So you have clarity about that.
That I'm running for in 4 years.
Yeah, beautiful. And would you still be in private practice as a therapist?
God, that's the $1 million question, right? It's like if I even want to be a therapist, like I like running groups, doing group psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Individual, like some patients I really, really enjoy, and then some are really, really boring.
Yeah.
So
thanks for being honest, right? People don't usually say those things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, some I like hate being with them, but some I really, really like. And yeah, so I mean, it's moving towards no, right? If I could have a practice that was all groups, I think that'd be really cool. That's very hard to do. but that would be cool. And I do like the marketing coaching. Again, but it's people who are good and I can like really get in like the hype and the vibe with them.
Mhm.
It's really fun. For the
Would you be
people that
doing
like,
this in 3 years from now?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I mean, if I'm doing business development at a high level, I'd be very interested in that.
Yeah. So
When
same thing, higher level.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. I
Because
see.
like what frustrates me about the business development is people who like, we spend our sessions and they forgot their passwords, right? I'm
Yeah.
spending like an hour going through their different password iterations.
You don't want to be a babysitter anymore.
Right,
You want to create
right,
a huge impact on the world
right.
through this big organization, the biggest organization in America, right? If
Mhm.
not in the world, American Group Psychotherapy Association is the biggest one.
Yes, yeah, it's the biggest of that type in the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's an international one.
You would be in a way working with many groups through
Yeah,
being a big part of that organization and working solely with groups in your private practice
hmm
and working with very maybe powerful big leaders in their fields through helping them with their businesses,
hmm
right? And those clients would be who? Are those therapists as well, or
for the business people.
yeah, the social marketing, for example?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I mean, business people for sure. I think like startup people, I'm looking at, getting more into the Boulder startup scene and seeing, where I can fit in there. I'd like to work with like mental health agencies. So people that have a little bit more budget than the struggling therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what I'm really interested in people like, I guess a colleague, Angelo Ciliberti, who I think you guys work with too, who's like
Yeah,
somebody who is a very high level therapist. He's been in the field for like 25 years, and is making the transition to private practice. And he like knows what he wants, can make it happen, and is very skilled. I like that a lot more than the like fresh graduate.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like people who understand the service and value the service. That makes it so much more enjoyable.
yeah. And my guess that you went into the field of psychotherapy in the first place, and you did some teaching as well, right?
Yeah.
To create some impact on the world. And sounds like you're starving for bigger impact right now.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. How would your leisure time look like 3 years from now? The perfect future.
Yeah, I mean, the way my lifestyle is that I enjoy like just cranking on work for like 2 or 3 weeks, like straight,
Mm-hmm.
and then taking like a week off somewhere cool.
And how does that work for you right now?
When it happens, it works very well.
Mm-hmm. So
It works.
just work 2 weeks and then 1 week off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What,
Or taking like a weekend trip and going camping and just like unplugging and going away. That tends to work more for me.
yeah, yeah. So wait, a week and a weekend?
Well, so it can be like 2 or 3 weeks and then like a longer trip, like a long weekend, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Or I can like grind for like a month and then take like a week off, so it kind of balances out.
And that's the perfect situation for you.
Yeah, I prefer longer trips, so I can really get in somewhere. Like doing like a quick little weekend thing, kind of, you don't really get the feel of it.
And you were talking about, you mentioned briefly burnout.
Oh
So
yeah.
that trip for a week, let's say after 2 weeks, how mm, how big of an impact it would have on your ability to work those 2 weeks without burning out?
I think that's a complicated question. I think like on the one hand, it does help quite a bit because it gives me like a lot of social time. Um, Even that being said, though, not really, because a lot of my friends aren't in the position to do that kind of lifestyle because of financial problems,
Mhm,
or they work more traditional jobs.
mhm,
But I have a solid group of friends. There's like 8 of us that can go and do that, so it's
mhm.
not too bad. Um, but then I think I do get stressed out before and after those trips because I have to like try to set everything up, before I go. And then when I come back, there's catch up period that needs to happen
Yeah,
because the world keeps happening, right? Like I keep receiving emails, and keep receiving pings when I'm gone.
yeah. So there's some adjustment period that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
What is one small action that you can take today towards that future?
I think like I mean cleaning up the backlog is kind of what I have planned for today. I think also like sitting down and getting my goals out, you know, kind of doing the work with you of like figuring out like what kind of lifestyle I want to design
Mm-hmm.
and what can I sacrifice. I mean, that's the hard thing for me is saying no,
Yeah.
you know. And I get excited about projects, and I have this thing where if I start something, I will finish it, even if it's like personal damage to myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I do not want to disappoint people. So that, you know, gives me a good reputation and destroys my physical body. You know, I'm very reliable, but I will sacrifice myself for, you know, a mission.
Yeah. Which makes you a good soldier and puts your body in a position of decay, right?
Right, exactly. It's like, you know, it's a good soldier because you expect soldier to get killed before he has to live a long life, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So sounds like it all comes down to what are the things in your life right now
Mhm.
that you are able to let go of that drain you from energy, but maybe you're not willing to let go of yet for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And what are the things in your perfect future that you describe that are not happening yet for whatever reason it might be? And uh, for the time that we have left, uh, would you like to kind of go and see how those things can happen today instead of waiting for those 3 years from now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, what do you see in your life today that's happening that was not included in that perfect future 3 years from now?
That's not included in the perfect
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Um,
The first thing that comes up.
right. I mean, like individual psychotherapy clients is
Yeah.
like the
That
thing.
that was a fast answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I need those right now because that's the main income source.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, you know, that's why I'm trying to work on things like neurotoys to get the passive income going
Mm-hmm.
so that I can phase out, you know, the hourly work, which is psychotherapy.
Yeah, and you know when you were describing your future 3 years from now, there
Mhm.
wasn't any word even about any mention about neurotoys.
Yeah, I'm not that into
Mm.
it.
Yeah. So let's say you take out private clients,
Mhm.
right? Because it sounds like that's what preventing you from stopping doing it is like, oh, that's my main source of income.
Yeah.
I can't really let go of that because I need the money. So, so I'm wondering what can fill that void. Not saying that you need to let go of it immediately, but if you would, what can fill the void of this revenue that you're getting from it right now?
Right. So either ramping up the marketing, like the marketing coaching and business development coaching,
Mm.
and getting like bigger contracts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, beyond the individual are
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. And then things like neurotoys that will give me passive income,
Mm.
right? So that I that can just be kind of running in the background.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm not passionate about neurotoys, but for like a little money widget, I'll take it. You know,
Yeah. So you're talking about setting it up and kind of forgetting it and
right?
allowing it to, yeah.
Right. Like I don't need to innovate the fidget spinner market, right? Like I don't need to be the best at that. I want to be the best at a lot of things, but with that, it's like I want to be good enough that it'll create a nice paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lower bar. Yeah.
Mhm. So you're saying I can get a big contract in social media, which will allow me to let go of many individuals that are
Mhm.
paying less. So let's say you're getting three big uh, clients, right?
Mhm.
Tomorrow for social media. Would you give up your private practice with individuals then, or is there something else?
What I would do is I would drop insurance. So right now I'm on a United panel, which pays me $50 a session, which is awful
Hmm.
because my regular fee is 150.
Yeah.
And I have right now like it's about half and half to be honest. Half and half people pay full fee and pay United. So I would drop the United people, or at the very least drop United, and then if they want to pay me full fee, be like that's what it is. Like I'm not on that panel anymore.
So that's interesting. You're talking about a solution without even um, without involving the big contracts. There is something. So you would be making the same amount of money with a client that's not paying insurance, right? And you would be working 1 hour instead of working 3 hours.
Right, which is a huge deal.
Yeah. And are you familiar with the 80-20 rule?
No, tell me about it.
So it's basically, and it's research based also. It's talking about the fact that 80% of your efforts can be, physical, results can be physical results. It can be money, are coming just from 20% of your efforts.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 20% of your clients are bringing you 80% of your revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And without sticking to exact percentage, does it ring a bell?
I see where you're going with it. I think it's a little bit different because all my clients pay the same. So it's not like I don't have like whale clients or anything.
I'm talking about the insurance versus non-insurance.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely like dropping insurance is like the move to do, right?
Yeah.
And then switching to only private pay. And even if I lose 60%, right, 66% of those clients, the other 33% will pay for that.
Yeah. So sounds like if you would stay with just the private paying clients, dropping the insurance clients, you have this opening with your time energy to start building. What would you build with that time?
Well, I'd probably use it to market my own private practice more so that I could get more, paid people, more full paid people.
That's interesting. So you would be with the time that you have, you would market something that you're not really excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I like filling time, so I'd probably fill the calendar.
Yeah. I'm curious what stops you from using that time to market the big contracts that you were talking about from social media that you are about.
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, that would be like, which is something on the list, is like go and like call big tech companies, just like appear at marketing agencies and just start like hustling that world.
And I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I'm just curious, what are the things that even for myself that I'm doing just for momentum and just because that's the things they are. And especially serving in the Israeli army, I saw so many things that are being done just because they were done like that in the past. So just momentum happening. So you're saying, I'm going to give up those insurance clients, but I will build more clients that I'm not really excited to work about while not developing the thing that I am excited about.
Yeah, I think it boils down to, which is something that's worth looking at for sure, is like an identity thing, right? Of like identifying as a therapist, right? And a therapist needs, in my mind, like a certain number of patients.
Yeah.
Right. And moving to social media, which I'm more and more down to do, is identifying more as a marketer and really building up that identity.
And is it okay for you to be interested in doing many things?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm getting more okay with that. I'm getting more okay with that kind of like entrepreneurial life for sure.
What is so when you have the resistance, what's the voice that you hear? Like, what's the thought that comes up?
I don't know. I mean, I think I value, and this may be like a parent thing, I value psychotherapy more than marketing because it's like a doctor type job. It's healing, it's more altruistic. Marketing, I mean, helps people, but it's also like super sneaky, like there's a lot more, it's more capitalist if that makes sense. So I think there's like some value judgments that go into it.
Yeah. So therapists are the good guys. Marketers are the bad guys.
Right. Well, especially in psychotherapy, because I work with a lot of young people, men and women, and a lot of their sickness comes from marketing messages, right? This feeling that like they're not good enough, that their body image isn't correct, that they need to be, look and dress and act a certain way. You know, like
Yeah,
that's real. You know, that's like a real fucking thing.
for sure.
Yeah.
Can you give me one example where marketing helps to completely change the world for the better?
Yeah. I think there's a lot
Wow.
of that. I mean, for sure. I mean, like with the whole like green marketing, right? Of like marketing eco-friendly, like that's not a it's not a political or a hippie effort. That's a marketing effort, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
what made green technology worthwhile.
What
Um,
else?
was that? Um, no, kind of. I mean, I think like focusing on like supplements, holistic healing is very helpful. I think. I mean, what I do helping therapists market themselves, like I don't want to market shit products. Like I market healers.
Yeah, yeah,
That's very important to me. Like I'm
yeah,
not going to market like Coca-Cola. You
yeah.
know.
And I think we're the same in that with uh, my web design company with my partner. We
Mhm.
work just with therapists and healers and coaches. So,
Right.
and I enjoy doing many things too. But I think there is a common thread, which is creating positive impact on the world.
Mhm.
And the means are different, but and the amount of communication that goes into it, right, whether it's with groups or just with one individual, is different, but the goal sounds like it's the same.
Yeah, it's get more people into treatment is the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
And why would you do that? Why would you get more people into treatment? What's the end goal in that?
Well, I mean, the end goal is connection and community, right? I mean, that's why I love groups so much.
Mm.
And a part of it, like me being sober and being in recovery, it's like our culture doesn't create a place for people to get together and just have a conversation, right? Like in a
Yep.
sober way. Like all
Mhm.
this stuff happens at bars or at clubs or at shows or whatever. And we miss that, right? Like we miss community. So that's why I love leading groups and helping group leaders, because it's like they're out there building communities. That's what
Mhm.
it boils down to, building connections.
Yeah, yeah. So you help people connect and
Right.
heal.
In like a clear-headed, like relatable way, right? In like
Yeah,
in a way that like you can actually feel it, right? You can have like a powerful moment at a bar, but if you're too wasted, you miss it, right? Like you actually miss the magic that's happening right there.
yeah. So how true is that voice that saying therapists are good, marketers are bad?
How true? Oh, they're awful marketers.
How like is it always true?
Like I mean, I'm the exception, I guess, but like,
You're
but
the only good marketer out
but no, I mean, I don't know. Most therapists that I run into are really bad at marketing because they're often shy people, or they're very, they're introverted, or they don't want to put themselves out there. I run up against that a lot.
there. Yeah, I actually meant about the positive versus negative impact on the world.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think if tuned properly and acted from like a place of like integrity and ethics, then yeah, marketing is just it's interfacing with a system that already exists.
Yeah,
You have
and
to interface in the right way.
yeah, and how true is it that all therapists create positive impact?
Probably not true at all.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of bad therapists too.
So it's interesting that
Yeah.
that thought that is so prevailing, and yet it's not really true. How? What would you do if you didn't have that thought? How would you be in the world?
I didn't have that thought. I don't know. I mean, what comes down, the first thought, which I don't know if is even related, is that just being
Uh-huh.
slower,
Mm,
um, which seems to be interesting, and taking more care of myself, right? Like not doing the whole like crusade thing, or
mm-hmm.
the whole like soul sacrifice yourself for the cause thing,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um, but having a more sense of like who I am as a person, and how, if I'm a good person, no matter what I do, will be good,
Mm-hmm.
or will be beneficial or healing or helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that you speak much slower right now than you.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not in my like manic like buzz.
Oh, it's just observation.
Mhm.
You're saying that's interesting. Why being slow came up, and I think you embody it right now.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's the feedback I get from everybody to like slow the fuck down. So it's good. I mean, the more I just need to keep hearing it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, does it feel complete for today?
Yeah, it does. I think I'm gonna like look at those United clients, look at the insurance people, and see what that's like. I think I'm going to spend some time this weekend getting my priorities down
Hmm.
and kind of look at the different balance in my life. Yeah, I think there's enough action items that I can use this to contribute to kind of the inquiry that I'm doing.
Beautiful.
It's
And
been good. Yeah.
yeah, and I know that you're really good at what you're doing. If any of the viewers want to connect with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So the best way to connect with me is my website, which is my name, mark-azulay.com. And on there, there's like the links to all the social media pages. There's links to the YouTube channel, stuff like that. So just go to the website, and then that's kind of like the landing page for everything.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable.
Yeah, thank you. It's been really helpful.
All right. Take care, Mark.
Okay, see ya.